The first Tunisian actress was Heidi Chikli, who starred in the short film Zohra in 1922. The first feature film to be directed by a woman was Fatma 75 by Selma Baker. The first ever Cineplex in Tunisia opened in Tunis City Mall in December 2018. It consists of 8 screens. Viajo's celebrity presents top 30 Tunisian movies. Number 30. Lilia, a Tunisian girl 2016. Lilia is a girl whose beauty is irresistible and bewitching, an uncommon beauty that gives her a seductive power which she uses and takes advantage of with impunity until one day she falls madly in love with her alter ego. What she does not know is that her dream will turn into a nightmare littered with corpses. Lilia, a Tunisian girl, is directed by Mohamed Zran. Mohamed Zran was born on August 23, 1959 in Zaziz, Tunisia. He is a director and writer known for the Song of the Millennium, Asaida and Le Prince. Number 29. The Flower of Aleppo 2016. As if enduring the harsh and oppressive life facing all Tunisian women wasn't overwhelming enough, the shattering of Selma's marriage into divorce weighs on her like the death of hope resurrected with the fall of the Arab Spring. Forever giving and self-sacrificing, she is struggling to hold on to what remains of her broken family in the only way she knows how, of burying herself in her work as a paramedic and escaping into other people's tragedy and pain. Morad, Salma's teenage son, has become more and more consumed by feeling of helplessness, confusion and abandonment as his family disintegrates. He so desperately needs to belong to someone or something. So much so when the pawns of the dark force known as ISIS ensnare him into their jihadi brotherhood like some horde of wild and hungry beasts catching scent of a wounded prey. They only need lure him in with promises of eternal friendship and the power to change his crumbling world. Now alone, Salma must summon all the strength and courage she has left in order to save him from a fate worse than death. Number 28. Printemps Tunisien 2014. This is the story of 3 boys and 1 girl who survive in an equal society. The destiny crosses that of the Tunisian Revolution. Printemps Tunisien was initially set to be directed by Abdellatif Kechiche, but he was held up by post-production on Blue is the Warmest Color and thus replaced by Raja Ameri. Number 27. Bedwin Hacker 2003. In the contemporary Tunisian thriller Bedwin Hacker, a female media pirate holed up in a remote outpost in the mountains of Tunisia, figure out a way to take over the television and radio airwaves in France and North Africa to broadcast political messages. The irritated French intelligence service closes in on her, which leads to a tit-for-tat game of intrigue between the hacker and her pursuers. Helmed by a female director, this film is of some historical significance given its unusually frank, straightforward, and accurate portrayal of the day-to-day experiences of North African women. This is the most refreshing film in terms of the originality of its plot and the originality of its characters. A female hacker from Tunisia occasionally jams French satellite to bring a comic but inspiring message to the people via a cartoon camera. The message is not really political and the act is neither one of the terrorism or of great harm to the population as a whole. Number 26. The Magic Box 2002. Tunisia today. Ralph, a well-known filmmaker, is deeply unhappy about his disintegrating relationship with his French wife. She rejects the confinement in which she feels she's been prisoner for too long, far from her homeland. She is bitter and fed up and the atmosphere at home is tense. A European television channel commissioned Ralph to make a film about the relationship between children and cinema. This leads him to make an intense and nostalgic reverie about his childhood spent in Kiev. Torn between his oppressive father, an authoritarian and religious person unwilling to make any concessions, and his irresistible discovery of cinema, a universe of dreams and freedom, Raup experiences his first emotion and desire for rebellion. He is supported and accompanied by his maternal uncle Mansur, a roaming projectionist who lives in the town's brothel. He initiates young Raup to the way of love to life. Number 25. Fatma, 2001. One night, Fatma, a teenager living in Sparks, is raped by her cousin. Although she decides to keep quiet about it, Fatma is far from resigned. She wins her first battle and goes to study in faraway Tunis. No longer held back by family constraints, Fatma's life takes on a whole other dimension. She is free to question, discover, experience new things. She gets a job teaching in Sandos, a remote village where she meets Aziz, a brilliant and open-minded doctor. Fatma wants to marry the man she loves and decides to get her hymen sewn together again. However, in a conventional and hostile society, their relationship puts Fatma and Aziz in a very dicey situation. Number 24. Late December 2010. Aisha lives in a remote Tunisian mountaintop village and dreams of a better life. After promising her the world, her boyfriend disappears and leaves her in a state of confusion and despair. A meeting with a young Tunisian immigrant to France may change everything. Meanwhile, Adam arrives in this peaceful village to escape from the city and the stress of his profession there as a doctor. Soon the tranquil setting of this place will be turned upside down. With a generation that struggle with modern day ideals, religion and identity, Mos Camun's film Late December portrays a moving, funny and challenging story that breaks down the barriers of today's misconceptions about Western and Arabic culture. Number 23. Making of 2006. The Making of a Martyr, The Making of a Man and The Making of a Film. Bahata is 25, Tunisian, a hothead who excels at breakdancing. When he thinks a woman he likes may be seeing another man, his injured pride mixes with his Arab anger at Western insult to Islam, so he gets in trouble with the cops. For centuries, two men take him to the home of an older man, a teacher who is a tombstone calligrapher. The teacher slowly brings Bahata to understand the promise of martyrdom, playing on his desire for manhood. Occasionally, the actor playing Bahata breaks out of his role to complain to the director, who must coax him back. He is Bahata on his way to manhood, suicide, martyrdom and murder. Number 22. Les Salles de Tunis, 2013. Tunisia before the revolution. A man on a motorbike, razor blade in hand, prowls the street of Tunis slashing women's buttocks. They call him the Saleh Aka the Blade, and the mere mention of his name provokes fascination and terror. Is he a lone criminal, an urban legend, or could he be the creation of a political group or religious fanatics? 10 years later, in the aftermath of the Arab Spring, a stubborn young female director sets out on an investigation to unravel the mystery and discover the true Saleh of Tunis. Tasty mockumentary which has the drawback of repeating itself a little too much, but also the merit of putting its finger on a complex subject. Number 21. The Season of Man, 2000. Aisha married Said when she was 18 years old. The same fate awaited her that was awaited so many other Tunisian women, living at her mother-in-law's house with her sisters-in-law. Her husband has left to work in Tunis, and he and many other husbands only return for a month each year during the season of man. Aisha, dissatisfied by the incessant waiting while an eternal disharmony with her mother-in-law, decides to set out for Tunis to be with Said. But he will only allow her to come on the condition that she first pay him a son. She eventually does so and goes to Tunis. But the son is autistic and Said's disappointment prevents the situation from being resolved as Aisha long expected it would. Feeling despair once again, she and her two older daughters return to the family house in Zerba. There they seek to find a way to live and love according to their imagination and not according to conventions dictated by traditional society. At the 2000 International Festival of Francophone Films in Nama, The Season of Men won the award for Best Actress. Number 20. Bezness, 1992. Rofa, a young prostitute, befriends a French photographer sent to do an expose. Bezness is about double confused standards. Rofa is a guy who dreams of going and settling in Europe, and he does so by befriending European tourists so he might hook up one day with one and go there to work. But he is somewhat engaged to Khomsa, whom is treated in the traditional customary Middle Eastern way. So when Fred, who works as a photographer, starts to show interest in her, it evolves into a love triangle. Who will win and who will lose? Especially when Khomsa finds out what her fiancé does behind her back. This film is quite enjoyable despite the muffled ending. Nonetheless, it's a good film and well acted. Not that Khomsa is the same person in Silences of the Palace, Kyla Lacroix, who doesn't seem to act or do much these days, much to disappointment. Number 19. Hidden Beauties, 2012. The story takes place in Tunisia in January 2011. Two young cousins, Zainab and Aisha, in solidarity with the popular rebellion started in their country, are also fighting to assert their independence and achieve their aspirations. Brahim, the fiancé of Zainab, an entrepreneur in France, would like to marry her and return to Nice where he lives. But he would also like his future wife to wear the veil. Zainab's mother supports him. Aisha, deeply religious, is for her part veiled. She alone takes care of her sister and her grandfather. Hamza, activist radical, recently escaped from prison, loves Aisha and would like to marry her. Aisha and Zainab work together in a pastry bar. One needs the dough, the other is a waitress. The director of the establishment puts pressure on Aisha so that she gives up the veil and can work in the dining room. However, if Aisha does not want to take off her veil, it is above all to protect herself from the eyes of men. Number 18. Whispering Sands, 2018. A Canadian of Arab descent goes to a desert for a reason she keeps secret. When she crosses the ruined places of her childhood, the local guide thickens the enigma, telling folk tales, the meaning of which touches us closely but whose nature we have difficulty identifying. Between second, past and future, Whispering Sand is a witness to the feeling of loss and the pain that accompanies it. The film has only two characters, a driver and a tourist. The remaining actors are part of the story that the driver narrates to his tourist. Each stories are like Arabian tales. Sufism is the base of the film. The movie is like a poetry depicting the intellectual level of Sufism. Number 17. Sweet Smell of Spring, 2016. Once upon a time, there was a now young man called Zizou who came to a magic city where on a popular souk, and after some vexation, he found both work and a couple of friends named Adel, Hema, Sindicato and Haj Omar. But life was not easy for all that, as there were also villains who alternately lured him to their sides, causing our gullible hero to endure blows, slap and humiliation galore. Of course, there is no fairy tale without a pure, selfless love, and a pure, selfless love did arise when Zizou, working a roof, caught sight of the most beautiful creature he had ever seen. Unfortunately, Aisha, the new princess of his heart, was confined in a house against her will by a gang of dangerous mafiosi. With such an obstacle to overcome, would the young man manage to save the belle, end up marrying her, and live happily after? Number 16. Wanderers of the Desert, 1984. El Haim is a Sufi tale, a film based on a poem a quest for root, love, and freedom. A young teacher arrives at a village built on the border of the desert where children have never been to school. Apart from the children, the village is inhabited by elderly men, women, and a mysterious and beautiful young girl. The man left to seek the boundaries of the limitless desert. The teacher is finally captivated by the shimmering world of sand and the Andalusia melody of its wanderers. In this story, magic and reality overlap to sing the beauty of the desert. The filmmaker, through carefully planned shots and sequences which are treated like paintings, and the poetry of his writing, pays an homage to the splendor of Arabian culture.